Did you guys do those questions or did you not? Did you guys try those questions? Anybody wants to ask something? Nope. No questions. Okay, then we'll just start. All right, so today we're gonna start doing strings first because while doing these loops, I want you to even understand how you can iterate through strings. By iterate, I mean how you can, if you have a long sentence, how you can take out each and every character from that sentence and perform some action if needed. So we're gonna start doing strings today first, and then we'll move on to doing the while loop and your do while loop. All right. I hope now that you have done, I sent you like the whole link with a lot of questions. Now that you're done with those and you guys don't even have any problems, so I'm just gonna assume that for loop is completely clear to all of you. That's why we're just moving on. If you guys still, I'm asking if you have any queries, you can ask right now. We're just gonna move on with other stuff. I'm just gonna assume that okay, you all know how to use and where to use for loop. Also with for and switch and if, I hope you are clear with all three of those. All right. So what are strings? You've already seen it's like a group of characters. Character is like a single alphabet, a single um, character. That's what char is. So any symbol, only one thing. You cannot have like you cannot write your name in a char type of variable. You cannot write even two alphabets if you want. It needs to be a single alphabet or single number or a single symbol or whatever. So but using strings you can have like multiple alphabets conjoined together. You can have words, you can have sentences, you can put paragraphs, you can like have multiple characters joined together in, and that's what a string is. So it is not a data type. String is an object that represents sequence of character. You can see it over here. In Java, string is an object that represents a sequence of character. Java.lang.string. The Java.lang package has the string class and it's a whole class. And we use that class to define our strings. This is just like a theory part that you should be knowing that string is not a data type. It's a, an object of a class called string, and that class is inside java.lang. But while using it, we use it like completely like how we use normal, how we declare normal variables or data types. Like we write int a equals to something, we write string s equals to something. So in the way you use it, there's no difference. There's just like if you're ever asked, maybe in an interview or anywhere, if you're just asked out of nowhere, is string a data type or not, then it is not a data type. It is an object of a class, and that class is called string. It's an object of the class string, and it is inside java.lang.string. So it's inside java.lang. All right. So that's a thing that you should know. But in the way you use it, the way you declare stuff, and the way you will take inputs and everything, it's same as other data types. Like how you do with int or how you do with float or how you do with char. All right. So this is how you will declare a variable of type string of this, like an instance of that class. So simply how you write it, string s is equals to, in double quotes you give your string. It's supposed to be in double quotes. With characters you use single quotes. If you guys remember, when we declared something of type char, we use single quotes, but with string we use double quotes. Okay. Now you can even do it like this, but that's not really required. So just printing strings. Um, Now there are these different methods in the class string that you can use, and that's the whole point, like why it is not a data type and why it is an object of a class. Because as string is an object of a class, you can use all of these methods to perform different operations. How we now let me just make it a bit more clear. Really want you to understand the concept why string is actually a class and not a normal data type, the one that we have been using. Let's try doing something. Give it a second to. So let's say we have this class main, and then you guys realize that I can have like other methods inside of it. Some people can even call it functions. You can have other methods, and then we've discussed before that I can use those methods in like different classes or different parts of the whole, your Java package too. So I'll try doing it so that you understand it. I think it should work. Okay, I have not properly used VS Code in a while. I've been working with Android. So let's say this is a main class and this is whatever. I'll just make a we'll just make another function and we'll call it public. We'll call it public sum. So public void sum. Alright, and I'll give it. Let's give it nothing to be honest. And we'll just take two numbers. Int a is equals to 5 and b is equals to 10, and we are just simply printing their sums. Alright. System dot out dot print a plus b. Alright, so according to this, if I will call this function over here, I'll get rid of this and even this, just all. So accordingly, like how it should work, if I call sum, it should just work, right? Cannot make a static reference. Yeah, see? Can you guys see the screen? Should I zoom in? I'll take that as a no, so I'll just continue. Yeah. So we got the 15, right? Now let's try creating another class, okay? Inside this itself, let's try making another class. I hope this work out, and I'll just name it 2. And let's say I have a function over here and a method, and let's name it public um, static void, and let's name it call because it's just gonna call the other. And now I will create an object of the class main. So I will explain this, and I hope this person, let me figure out if it is working or not. If it's not, then we'll just try another way. Obj is equals to new and now I'll just say obj dot so starting with the something type thing. So if it does end up for someone not working, I okay, I'll try explain it to you over here because mm, this is comparatively a way bigger code file. Let me figure out. Wait a second. You just can get a code over here, so that would be yeah. So you guys can see this code. So what they had was they had this class student, and then they had this variable over here which was a global variable as it is not inside the method, it's outside the method, so it can be used anywhere in the program. And then it had this another one, and then they have the main, and over here what they're doing, they're creating an object of student. And how do you create an object of anything in Java is just you first you will write the name of the class as you're creating an object of that class, and then you will give it a name. Okay, this can be anything. This S1 doesn't need to be S1, this can be whatever you want, apple, mango, whatever. And then you put equals to, and then you write new, and then you will again write the name of the class and put these brackets. This will create an object. And now using this object, you can call whatever is inside this class. So when they write s1.id, when they're writing s1.id, what is printing out is the value over here. As they've not defined any value in it, so it's just giving 0. And the string is returning null because again string was given no value, right? They have written int id, but they've never given a value to id. That's why there's no id or string inside this function, as you can see. But through this object and through this, they are able to call these variables that defined over here. In the same way, they can even call other functions, and they can give call to other methods and other functions that's inside there. Let's see over here they have two different classes, right? You can see it over here. Student is one class, and then this is another class. You guys see this? This is a class over here, and this is another class. They're two different classes, and they have created an object of student. They've written student s1 is equal to new student, and they've created an object, and through that now they're calling these values, and it still prints 0 and null because it was never declared. It was not given a value. Are you guys following what is happening over here? Then I'll explain you why does this like matter in the case of string.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
so you guys understand they're like two different classes, and they through creating an object, they're able to access whatever is inside the other class through the one that they're using, right? So in the same way as string is a class and it is not a data type, what happens, these all are functions, these all are methods. See, it's methods, and all these methods are, where are they located? They're located inside the string class. There's a class string in Java which is somewhere in all the code files, and all of these are located inside that string class. And by using, why when we write string s is equals to something, it creates an object, and through that we can use all of these methods to perform certain functions. So we don't have to write a lot of code. To take out the length, we can straight away use the, whatever the name of the variable is, dot length. And we don't have to like run a loop or do something else, long calculations to calculate the length of the string. It just gives you the length of the string because this is a method over there, right? You can find caret at a certain position, like in a string. If we want a character located at a certain position, we can just use caret and then we'll get it. All right, so let's try doing it, and I think that will become more easier. So I'll just get rid of this. Yeah. So let's create a method string s is equals to, and I'll give it a value. Let's say, let's give it a hello world because I know. Right. And now this is a string, okay? So you wrote string with a capital S and then you write give it a name. You can give it whatever name you want. And then in double quotes, you give it the value. Now let's first try taking out its length by, actually ourselves writing a code. So does anybody have an idea how we can calculate the length of the string? Or actually, yeah, can anybody like figure out a way how you can do it?
What, ma'am?
Calculate the length of this string.
S dot length, ma'am.
Yeah, s dot length. Yeah, that's completely correct. We will use s dot length. Is there like if you think about another way, if we don't get to use the s dot length, can you think of another way of doing that without using any, previously defined functions, methods? See, here where it gets complicated. If you actually have to do it, then it gets really complicated because what you will have to do, you will need to somehow go through this whole string. For that, probably you will be using a loop, but then again, you don't know the lengths, you don't know till where to run it. So we will be running like till there are, still characters in this string. And then again, to take out each and every character, you would have to, for now, we can use caret, but otherwise like you have to think of like a really, it will be like a complicated logic, to be honest. Like it's not a simple thing. If you think about not being able to use all those predefined functions and just thinking of a way of how to get the complete length of the string, it's not that, not something you can just think of off the bat. It's not that simple. So if those were not present, they were not predefined by Java itself, our code will be way more complicated and way more lengthy. So, but thankfully, string is not a data type. It is an object, and you can use, predefined stuff. So we can just create a variable or type int to store the length, and we can just do an s dot length, and this will get us the length of that string. And how it can do it, wait, first let me print it. String dot out dot print and I'll just print length. Yes. So how this works is we took a variable to store the length, and then this was the object we created when we wrote string s. It just made an object, and then we put dot and name of that method. Now this length is not located over here, it's located somewhere inside Java in the files where they have the class string. All right, and through that we can easily calculate the length. See, 11, and that's exactly what the length should be. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It even counts space. The spaces are also counted in the length. Space, a single space is also a single character. So if you give, and the ASCII code for that is 32, as far as I remember. You guys can cross check it. I think it is. It should be 32. And so if you write a single space, that is counted as a character. There, that's why the length came out to be 11 and not just 10. There were 10 characters, but the complete length is 11. You guys follow that?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody wants?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody wants to ask something till like here? Anything? Anything you guys are confused about right now?
Ma'am,
Yes.
just before, after you have uh, said something about global variable.
Yes, yes.
So what you have said, will you please just explain that again?
Yeah, so global, there are local variables and there are global variables. And if you guys had gone through the link that I sent you after we had the variable class, as far as I remember, I did send a link. Maybe about was maybe about data types, it was about variables, and it was mentioned over there. So if this is the method, right? I think we even went through that. I don't remember. Should have gone through that when we're doing the public and private thing. This is a method, right? And then this is a class. If you define something over here, if I write something like int a is equals to 10 over here. Now this is not inside this function, so this is local to the class, like this is available inside the whole class. So this is a global variable. So if I write whatever function, if I write any more methods or any more functions in the class, I can use this variable. All right, I can use this variable in those methods too. If I have a variable inside the main method, I cannot use that inside another method. I cannot get that value. I would either need to create an object or or like do something to use it. But whatever's over here inside the class can be used directly inside any method present in that class. I hope that makes sense. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes, ma'am, getting it.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's what global variables are. So if there's a certain value that you want, your whole class to access so that your whole class can use it, you just define it after the where your class starts. You don't define it inside a function, you just define it outside the class.
And
Uh,
ma'am, if we declare the function inside the class, then it will be a local variable, right?
inside, if you do it over here,
Yes, ma'am, inside the function.
yeah, then it will be a local. It will be local to this function, to this method. It only inside these brackets, like from where the method starts and the method ends, it will you can use it only inside here. You cannot use it outside. If you need to use it outside, then you would either need to call the function, make an object, make an instance and all that stuff. You cannot directly use it, or you would have to like pass the value. Remember how we did passing values, right? So you would have to maybe do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so getting back to strings, another thing to note is the length of the string is 11. But if we want in string, what happens is each and every character is given a number. Okay, each and every character is given a number. So, but the numbering starts from 0. It doesn't start from 1. It starts from 0. So H will be at position 0, E will be at position 1, this is at position 2 until position 10. The length, when the length is counted, it is counted as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But when the positions are seen, those are from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's even try doing it. If I system dot out dot print ln, and I print s dot caret. And caret is another method, a really helpful method present inside the string class. And what it does is you give an integer value and it will return the character present at this value. So if you give 1, it will return the character which is at position 1. So let's see what character we get when I run it for 1. So char at position 1, it gives you e. It doesn't give you h, it gives you e. Why? Because h is at position 0. If you'll pass 0, then you're going to get h. See, can you guys see this over here? So you get h is at position 0, so we have 0, 1, 2 until 10, and the length is 11. Now you know that you can calculate the length of a string. You can find the character at a certain position by sending a number in it. Like you can give a certain number and you will get the character at that position. So can anybody tell me how you can print all the characters of a string in separate lines? And by that I mean, like if I've given hello world, how can you print HELLO in like different lines? Can anybody think of a way to do that? Come on, think, guys. Uh, think about all the things that we've used before. Used if, we've used switch, we've used loop. So can you not think of a way how you can print, every character of a string in separate lines?
Yes, we can use for loop.
Yeah, great. We can use for loop. And yeah, I know that you kind of have an idea. Yeah, I get that. What about others? Can somebody, okay, she told me you can use for loop and she's 100% correct about that. We're gonna use for loop. Can somebody tell me how, like what we're gonna write inside it? Somebody else? Can somebody else? See, now she made it easier. She told you have to use for loop, and you know what all is needed to use a for loop, and you know what output we want. So, can you all think of a way to do it?
Simply incrementing I and printing it, ma'am.
Okay, by incrementing I. So, all right. Can
I
you
less
tell me?
than or equal to s dot length, ma'am.
Great. So, I should write for, and then what should I write?
Int I equal to 0.
Okay, perfect. Then,
I less than or equal to s dot length.
okay, so I'll just write length because we have the value already.
Okay.
And then
I
I
plus
should write I. Great, perfect. Let's try running it and see. Let's see what happens. I was telling you guys beforehand, there is a little bit of error. It's perfectly correct, but there's a little bit of error. But first I'll run it and then let's see what happens. All right. So we have caret I, and then remove this. And we're gonna run it, okay? And let's see. it said exception. It printed hello world, but at the end, after the D, you got exception in thread, string index out of range 11. And I think some of you might have guessed it right, like by now, like what the problem was. Why can I not? Yes. So the problem was the length, as I told you, is counted by 1, 2, 3, 4, so it ends up being 11. But uh, while numbering these, characters, it starts from 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It ends at 10. So it's not supposed to be less than equal to length. It should be less than length. Because length is always plus 1, right? It's always length is always when you get the length, it's like plus 1 because the actual numbering of characters starts from 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. Are you guys following what I'm trying to say? Do you guys understand why it should be less than length?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. And now, can somebody think of a way of printing hello world but reversed? Like I want the D to be printed first. It should be like DLROWOLLEH. If you guys cannot think of like how to write in program, if somebody can just tell me the logic, like how we can approach it, that would be cool too.
Start I from length, ma'am.
Yeah, great. Now I want somebody else to answer. Did anybody else figure out how? See, she's like gave a really great hint. If she said, try like start I from length.
Decrement
So,
it.
can you please repeat yourself?
Yes, we have to decrement that.
Yeah, great. Yes. Now she understood what needs to be done too. What about others? Did, can somebody else wants to give it a try? Somebody else wants to, I guess they both have given like really those are completely correct. One of them said start I from length.
Hello,
There's a little, yes.
ma'am. Can we declare I equals to the number of the where D is located at the number the dth position? We can declare as I.
Hmm. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to make it easier for you guys. So I'll explain it. It's great. Like a lot of you thought of it. It's nice. You guys are like at the right track, like 100% on the right track. So we need to exactly like how she said. We need to give I the value of the last character. That's how we're gonna print it first, right? I's value should be the last character. And what is that? What is that value? It's length minus 1, right? And why is it length minus 1? Because length, and when we count length, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 till 11. But when it comes to position, it's from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10. So always this last character's position is length minus 1. Do you guys understand that? Why is it length minus 1? Or is anybody confused? That's like a really important thing to understand. Like always the position of the first character is 0 and the last character is length minus 1. Is anybody confused about that?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, you said that in hello world, we uh, calculated the string that is 11, but
Yeah.
it's calculating the space also.
Yes.
So how it would be 10?
Okay.
If
I just want you to see. I'm gonna count it out loud for you. All right. H is 1. E is 2. This is 3, 4, 5. Space is 6. Then we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Now do you get it? So when it's gonna be from 0, it's gonna be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So D is gonna be 10.
Yes, ma'am.
Now do you
Understood.
understand? Okay. So I hope that is clear. So the last character is always length minus 1, because length starts from 1 and the positioning starts from 0. So to I, we're going to give that value. We're going to say I is equals to length minus 1. Length we already calculated over here, right? We calculated this by s dot length. Okay. And till where do we want it to go? We want it to go till 0, right? You wanted to start from length minus 1 and go till 0. So I should be greater than equal to 0, and then we will have I minus minus. And let's see if you guys, did you guys understand what I wrote, or should I like explain it? Why should it should be greater than equal to 0? Because we're starting from 10 and going till 0. So it's gonna be 10, then less 1 9, less 1 8. So these values are greater and they're going to 0. Do you guys, and then we are decreasing it by 1. If somebody's confused about this, let me know. I'll wait. I'm gonna run it and I'm waiting for a minute so you guys can see the code and ask me any problem if you have. So see, we got the, let me just show you the output real quick. Uh, I'm gonna just do it again. Yeah, you guys see this? It printed from D till H. So I'm gonna wait for a minute and you guys can look at this code, and if you have any problem you can ask me. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So yeah, so I hope you understand it. There are other methods too. There is substring. Now these substrings are also really helpful. You can like you can get a substring of your complete string, and by that it means a part of a string. So there's like two ways of using it. You can use it as substring and give the beginning index and it prints it till the end. Let me just show you. So you can do uh, this is done. So let's just write system dot, and you give the beginning position from where you want it. So let's say let's give it a 3, and then let's see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna start debugging, and what it printed was LO space world. So what just happened? If you count the characters from over here, you write count 0, like you count 1, 2, 3, right? Over here it doesn't count from 0, but go like the first 3 will not be printed and rest everything else will be printed. Are you guys following? When you use substring and you just write 3, so the first 3 characters, whatever there are, that is, they will not be printed and everything else after that will be printed. Let's try with some other value. Let's try 5, and It just printed world because this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It printed space world. There's a space too over here. You guys see this? I can select it. The selected portion is the extra space, the space and word. So, and then you can have substring with two integer value, and it's the beginning index and the end index. So you can give, like, I want substring from, let's say, from 3 till 7. Okay, and let's see what output we're gonna get now. So when I'm gonna run it, it gives LO and W. LO space W. So what all did it give? It gave 1, 2, 3. So all of this was removed. They started this from 4, 5, 6, and your 7, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it prints it that way. So with substring, you should count it as your normal, mm, like your normal numbers. So from when you give substring 3, 7, so the first three are removed, starts printing from 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, prints it till 7. So if I give 3, 8, it's gonna print till one more character over there. So see, now went till WO. Is this clear? Do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Great. So I'm gonna share this link with you, and you guys can go through all of these. It says over here what they are used for and everything. You can replace a character with another, replaces all the occurrence of a character. So let's try this. Um, so you can write replace, and you can give a character. Character is in single quotes. Let's try replacing all the else with K. Okay. So see, it changed all the else with the K's. You guys see this? So this is like, see, it made it so easy for you to, manipulate strings. Like, because now string is a class and it has so many methods already defined, you don't need to care about writing a complete program about how to get the value, the character, and then change it, and then print the whole thing again. It just does it all for you. So this is like why Java decided to have string actually as a class and not as a data type. Because of the data type, you don't get these kind of privileges. You cannot do all this with this. It's like makes it very easy to make changes to the string and perform different operations that you need to do. um, There's replace, there is concat. Concat joins two strings. So if I write, if over here, let's say I write s dot concat and I just write something else. So what it's gonna join them together. So I can write s dot concat and I can give another string and just write apple over here. And see, it just printed hello world and it joined apple at the end. So that's what concat does. And then you can compare them. There's like a lot of other. You can get, like how we got carat, a specific index. You would write s dot carat, give a number, and it will give you the character at that position. You can give a character and get its position. So you can write index of, um, you can write something like, you can write s dot index of, and you will give whatever character you want. Let's get of E, and I'm gonna save it, and it will give me the index of that character in the string. It gave 1. See, it was 1, it was 0, 1, that was the index. So you get by s dot index of, you get that index. So I hope you got a
Hello,
bit of
ma'am.
idea. Yes.
What is meant by intern string, the 18th number one?
Wait. Over here, string
Yes,
intern
ma'am,
returns
exactly.
intern intern string. See, I've never used intern, so return string from pool. Now it will be same as s2. I think it just like how they wrote s1 dot intern over here, and then they had they made another string with Java point, and then they wrote it again. So it makes both of these variables point at the same Java point, Java T point, like the string. See how I can say it, because they had this, they had S1 as Java point, then they wrote S2 equals to S1 dot intern. Now, when they calculated S1 equal S2, they got true, right? But when they calculated S1 equal S3, they got false, even though they both have the same value. It is because S1 and S3 are located at different memory locations. Okay, then you write, and then when they did with S4, it ended up like S3 equal S4 is also true, right? So I think that's what it is. I will search about it a bit more, and I remind me to discuss this tomorrow. I've never used intern before. There are a lot of. Let's see, there are 28 of these. So not really, don't really use all of them. Common ones that you will be using is two lowercase. It converts your whole string to lowercase, and you have two uppercase, so it converts the whole thing to uppercase. This local L, you can read about it. These two are the ones that you will be using. The trim method, what it does is it removes extra spaces from the starting or the end and the end of the string. So let's say we wanted user to give an input, their name, to input their name, and they ended up writing space. Let If I am doing it, I by mistake what I wrote was space Vani. So when you will be running your program, that space might cause a problem, because now the first character of that string is a space, right? It should be started from V as my name starts, but it's a space. So to get rid of that, you use s dot trim, and it will remove extra spaces from the starting and from the end of the complete string. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I will share this thing with you, so you guys can go through all of these 28 of these if you want to, or just see the ones that you will need, and then I will give you some questions too, so you can try those out. All right. And I think that's it for today. Tomorrow we're gonna work on while and do while. So if you have any questions, you can ask, or we'll just end the session.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you guys can just start leaving. Nobody has a question?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. So thank you so much, guys. I'll just end the session now. Thank you.
Thank you.